Welcome to Metaphysical Hippie Chicks 2.0. I'm Susanna Masseri, psychic medium and author of Living Beyond Death. My co-hosts are psychic medium Annalisa Bastiani and ET experiencer Terry Scalia. We focus on grounded, honest conversations about consciousness, mediumship, channeling, ETs, psychology, and modern spiritual culture. Thank you for joining us. Jan Gray, also known as Mr. Gray, has been an experiencer since the age of 3. Although his experiences ceased when he began primary school, they returned after he completed college. For the past 7 years, he has had the privilege of hosting and producing the YouTube channel Experiencer Interviews, where he interviews ET contactees and experiencers from around the world. From ETs and UFOs to shadow beings, angelic encounters, psychic predictions, visions, and communications with the afterlife, Jan has explored a remarkable range of extraordinary experiences. He considers it a true blessing to share these stories and experiences in service to humanity. Welcome, Jan.
Hi, everyone,
Hey.
and thanks for having me.
Hey.
It's a pleasure.
Yeah. So Terry and I have both been interviewed on your podcast, which we enjoyed very much, and so we're really honored to have you here today.
Thank you. Thank you.
So,
Very honored.
if you could tell us a little bit about your background and growing up, what happened in the very beginning?
Sure. Well, professionally, I've been working in the mining industry since the age of 16. So I have a college degree in geology and one in mineralogy. And I've been doing basically mining cartography since 2005. Now, experience-wise, I've just recently turned 51. So I'm a Leo, and I was born in 1975. Now, you have to sort of go back to the 70s, really, to put things into perspective. I grew up in Ontario, Canada, in a small town called Temagami, which is basically in the woods. I've heard a few stories about Bigfoot sightings in the area, but I didn't know about that until when I was in my 20s. So imagine in 1977. So I was born in 1975. So yeah, Temagami is basically 4 hours north of Toronto, just to help locate it, beside a really big lake called Temagami Lake. My dad was a boat captain, and he would bring down that lake logs with a boat. Now, in the 70s, we didn't, especially in northern, middle Ontario, in the woods, I didn't even know corner stores existed. So, because my parents didn't want me to know that there was this magical place where candy was in abundance. Because back then we didn't have a lot of bubble gum, choices of candy, chocolates. So anything ET-ish we didn't know about. It wasn't really something that we talked about. We had 3 channels on a black and white TV. Only one, we had 2 TV. One small TV in the kitchen and one in the living room. We had we didn't have cable out there. 3 channels. I grew up on basically peanut butter sandwiches and Scooby-Doo, Gilligan's Island. So yeah, we didn't know anything about ETs, but there was a lot of ghost stories within the immediate family. We were used to that. If we got time, I might get into one really good one. So my story starts off, I suspect that was about years 2.5 to 3, because my brother was born when I was 4, and this happened at least a good 1.5 years before that. I was still in the crib. I remember telling my mom, a lot of times, that from the age of 2.5 to 4-ish, there were people in my bedroom at night. Now, I was so afraid, knowing that they were there. I don't forget. I can't remember seeing their faces, but I would tell my mom, and this was even my mom told me this when I was in my mid-30s, that she remembered me saying this, that there were people in my bedroom at night. I was so afraid of them, knowing that they were there, that I would sleep with my entire body against the wall. So imagine a small child, 3 feet tall, I don't know, with his entire body tucked against the wall, and I slept like that, like a plank. Sometimes I would sleep in a fetal position, but always against the wall with my back to them, because I was afraid of looking behind me. So I slept like that basically up until the age of 11-ish, let's say. And I was afraid of the windows and things under the bed, the closet, the door that might be opening up. And this was a thing. When my brother was born, eventually they used my bedroom because they had the crib, and they switched me to another bedroom. And now this story only started making sense to me recently thanks to my channel. Now, when I was 5-ish, I still remember till this day my first nightmare, which happened in that bedroom, the second one. I remember this as if it happened yesterday. So what happened was I'm sleeping, I wake up in my bed, and I'm feeling the air, everything around me felt palpable, a bit floaty-ish, and I could feel the air like pushing against me. And at the end of my bed, on the foot of the bed, was a 3-foot tall boxing glove. The glove was doing this, just moving a bit like that. And of course I was freaked out. And, being 5 years old, of course. And then, so I call out to my folks. My mom and dad comes in the bedroom. My dad picks me up and I point to the boxing glove. And of course they couldn't see it. So there's this sort of confusing aspect to the nightmare. But so eventually I black out. But I remember that weird feeling and the glove till this day. And eventually, thanks to my channel, I interviewed a lady that was describing the same thing, and she would refer it to as alien fog-ish, which basically eventually made sense thanks to me learning about screen images. So I thought to myself, okay, because I didn't know anything about ETs until the age of 40 now. I didn't know anything. I'm a huge Trek fan, grew up on the old Trek, the new Trek, not the Kurtzman Trek, but all the good old stuff. So I loved the whole ET aspect. I even got a Star Trek tattoo on my shoulder. So the whole Star family thing was a thing to me, but I didn't know anything about ETs in general. So I didn't know that the glove might have been a screen image of a gray. The fact that it was bigger than a normal boxing glove and whatnot. Eventually, in '84, my folks and I moved to Quebec because my dad lost his job. The company went broke. That's when my dad started working in the mining industry, and that's why I'm in the industry as well. But so nothing happened really. When my brother was born, I started going to school, and I fell into this sort of like governmental conditioning system, really, which is school basically. But so nothing happened to me up until the age of 25, roughly. But when I turned 11, I was still sleeping with my belly against the wall, being like almost 6 foot tall teen at the time. But eventually it became a force of habit, basically. It felt good. But this time I realized I went to bed, so I'm sleeping, but eventually I became conscious. My eyes are closed. I realized I'm on my back, but for some reason, both of my legs are in the air at a 45-degree angle. And I realized that's not normal. I'm supposed to be like lying down. Then I cry out no in my head really loud. And then I feel my feet falling back to the bed, poof, with a thump. And I black out and I wake up the next morning. So I suspect now that I was being either brought back from something and my consciousness came to. And that's when I realized my legs were in the air. But yeah, so nothing happened to me up until the age of 25. So I finished school with my 2 college degrees, and I start working in Quebec City for a mining research center. So I had this sort of contract for a year. I'm in a new apartment, and I was just about to fall asleep within that sort of like beta, delta, theta wave type of thing. I'm really calm, and I'm looking towards the bedroom closet door, which is about a few feet away from me. Within that immediate area, in the air starts to look like a bubble of energy forms in front of me. So I suspect I was tapping into something. So imagine like heat rising from hot pavement going up like that. And within that bubble of energy, I see my brother's face. His eyes were closed. He's like a junior, like a small Brad Pitt, basically, blonde boy there. So his face is tilted to the side. His eyes were closed. And because of the energy and stuff like that, it felt like he was drowning. So I thought, this is the first time of me seeing something like that. I believe it's like a third eye vision type of thing. So the next day I called my mom and I told her the story because my mom was my go-to person when these events happened. I didn't have like somebody else. And for some reason, which is really strange, I think this is something that a lot of experiencers tend to, they have these stories, they want to share them with other people. But for some reason, and at least in my case, I thought everybody had these happened to them. So why would I share with everyone? It was like something normal. And on my mother's side, well, when I would tell her these stories, she said, well, keep them to yourselves because some people might judge me or she didn't want me to get taken away. I don't know. But yeah, anyhow, so I told her story. My mom calls up a week later to tell me that my brother was at the hospital getting massive blood transfusions because the medication he was taking for his IBS was I think methotrexate or not metho, no, not metho, but yeah, it's sort of like a chemo pill that they give him to lower his immune system. It was basically killing him. His blood platelets were severely low, and he could have died. So they stopped his medication and they put him on blood transfusions for the entire week. And he was lucky he didn't get AIDS. Yeah, he was able to get out of it, but was it my soul that was telling me something was going to happen? I have no idea. So that was like my first experience when it comes to like the starseed experiencer type of like psychic experiences. So nothing else happened during that year. I moved back to my hometown. So I start working at this diamond exploration company. I'm dating this new girl called Veronica. So I was renting a second-story apartment. Nothing really happened to me, like majorly, like experiences-wise, but this is where it all started. So this was around 2007, I believe. So I wake up during the summer. It was very hot. Imagine like a second-story apartment, and there was almost no air coming in through the bedroom. Even all the windows were open, the drapes were opened, and all that. I wake up around 6 a.m. There's like loads of sunlight, and I'm looking around, and without these glasses, I could see pretty well. So I'm just looking around. For some reason, I'm on my back, and normally at that time, I would always sleep on my stomach. Being a child of the 70s. Our moms would always put us on our stomach with our head tilted to the side if we get sick. So I was used to that, but strangely enough, I'm on my back and I'm looking around really calm. And I realize in front of me, just at the foot of the bed, maybe at 6 feet in the air, I'm seeing this black outline, like somewhat see-through. And I'm looking at it. With my eyes, I start retracing the outlines. And I realize it's a sort of upside-down guitar pick, since I'm a guitar player. Or an upside down pear. So large at the top and skinny at the bottom. A bit like my face, basically, but a larger head, though. I realized, is that a head? And I start concentrating on inside it. And I realized at the top of the head were two big round eyes, perfectly round, but really big. And I'm looking at that. And I thought to myself, it's probably a ghost. And for some reason, I was super calm. It was calming me down. I would have freaked out normally. Any normal person would freak out. So I look at it for like 30 seconds. Eventually, I get the feeling, I should fall back asleep. It's just a ghost. So I turn around, hug Veronica, fall back asleep, and I tell my mom the story the next day. Now, maybe a few months later, within that same bedroom. Now, I'm sleeping on my left side, so my right side's the ears facing the ceiling. And maybe an inch away from my ear, I hear a lady's voice say, "You're going to be an uncle and your parents' grandparents." This was a lady's voice that spoke to me in English. Because my parents are French, I was raised up in a French environment, but I'm bilingual, of course. So I wake up thinking somebody's in the bedroom. So the light switch was just above my head. So I raise up, put the light on. No one's in the bedroom. Turn around, Veronica's still sleeping. So she wasn't the one speaking to me. So I was panicky, like, what the hell was that? So I fall asleep and I call my mom and I told her the story the next day. I completely forget about it. Now to back up a bit, my brother, when I was 25, so I was around 29, 30 at the time that this happened. So when he was 21 and I was 25, he got married fairly young. He tried to get his wife pregnant for a long time and nothing kicked in. So they had in vitro done, lots of hormones, basically to a point that she almost died. Her belly swelled up so big that she had to stay at the hospital for weeks to get her belly to deflate, let's say, and she almost died. And so eventually they sort of, with a lot of time and money put into that, they stopped. They thought, okay, I thought, okay, my parents won't have grandchildren. So it was a bit sad, but eventually they stopped trying. Now, all of a sudden, I get this female voice telling me that my brother's going to be with a child and his wife. So I didn't tell my brother. I only told my mom, and I completely forgot about it. 3 months after, almost to the day, my brother calls up and says, Jan, do you feel old today? I thought, well, that's a strange question. Like, no. He says, well, congrats, you're going to be an uncle. And he eventually tells me that I will be the godfather. And so like, hey, hooray, and all that. And so I called my mom to tell her the story. And of course, he called her first. and then she tells me, do you remember the voice? And that's when it hits. Like, my jaw dropped, and I thought, holy moly, that actually happened. So I hope that my goddaughter's an experiencer, because when she was old enough to talk and my mother would babysit her, one time she'd wake up and she would call, Grandma, there's a man in my room. And also my mom saw a lady in white in the same house, in her house, basically. So, there's also a lady in white in my story. So, yeah, just fingers crossed. So, do you have any questions for me right now?
If you don't mind, what I picked up when you were talking about seeing your brother's face in the bubble before you knew that he was in the hospital, what I got was that you were connecting with his consciousness. Whatever became of that, if there was any communication within that experience, I don't know, but that's what I got. You were connecting with his consciousness because during that time, he was in and out of his body also.
Mm-hmm. I see.
That makes sense.
My other question was, is your mother psychic at all, or is she an experiencer herself?
Experiencer, I'm not sure. She's my grandmother would tell my mom that she had a lot of dreams flying.
Mm-hmm.
My mom was into angels, and I found out later that she had crystals and pendulums in her bedroom. Okay. Eventually, I started using crystals and pendulums too. I became pretty good with it, and I showed her how to use it, ask the pendulum questions. Now, to what extent is it really true? Are we tapping into something, or is it really us? But I don't know. But I always bought her angel books for Christmas. But eventually I bought her Barbara Mastiniak's The Pleiadian Message, and she started dreaming about ETs after that. One time she dreamt what she described as a Nordic. He was standing on water and was doing this or something like that with his fingers. And eventually the dream turned to, and he was holding a pig for some reason. And eventually the dream turned to her describing what was probably a reptilian. And she was afraid. She never saw that before, but he had leathery skin, grayish leathery skin. But yeah, it looked more like if it were a gray, she knew what grays looked like. But yeah, that's it. But eventually she passed away not long after that.
How far back in your family do these experiences go that you know of?
Some of my cousins on my paternal side had experiences, a lot with spirit. My uncles and my grandfather, when he was a bit younger, also had experiences. Now, to maybe correlate why I'm having these experiences, now when I interview people from the States, one of the first questions I ask, do you have someone in the immediate family that works for the military? Here, the military is a bit less big, so none of my relatives worked for the military. But eventually I met, and I almost got married to and I'll get into that later on, but I almost married a British child abductee. Mm-hmm. And she told me, when I told her about my grandmother's bloodline. Now, growing up, my grandma would tell my mother that her family, which her surname's Aylwin. So Mary Angel Aylwin is her name. And she didn't know much about the family, but she knew that back in the day, it was an important family. Again, this is like growing up the 70s, the 80s. We didn't have the internet. How could you try to trace your family bloodline or whatever, your family history? Basically, it was a difficult thing. So she thought having a lot of Irish immigrants in Canada that, it could have been like an important Irish family. But thanks to my fiance at the time, she told me, no, the Aylwins, they were nobles in Britain. So my ancestors on my grandmother's side are British nobility. And the manor's still up, which it changed names over time, but it was called Aylwine Tone, and it became Aylwington, which sounds like Aylwin. So the word Aylwin is spelled Aylwin. It derives from the same branch bloodline or family name, but the words Alvin, like in Alvin and Chipmunks, it's the same thing. It's like the same branch, but over time, because people didn't go to school, they would spell things out how it's pronounced, not how it's written. Okay, so then eventually, like again, the family name sort of branched out depending on who would sign whatever. And so all those surnames come from the same ancient Old English. Now, this is like prior to Anglo-Saxon. So this is Old English, Old Britain, almost can be traced back to the Roman era. The word is Elfwine. It's spelled Aelfwine. Now, Professor Tolkien in Lord of the Rings also was knowledgeable regarding that family name. So he used it in his book. So it's not, he didn't invent it. It's actually a thing. Now, in Anglo-Saxon, the word Elfwine is translated to, and there's a few names here there. It's called magic friend, elf friend, noble friend. But one of the oldest names that comes from that word is, and I only found out this recently thanks to I was watching a documentary on the Anunnaki and the Nephilim, and the word Elfwine can be referenced as shining ones, plural. So AELF is shining ones, and wine means friend. So friends of the shining ones. So basically, my ancestors were friends of gods. So yeah, wow. So that's it means nothing. I'm not rich or anything. It's just like a neat little tidbit that I'd love to get my hands on.
So cool.
On info.
That is very cool.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So that could be like a contributing factor to me having experiences.
Sure. Generational.
Yeah,
absolutely. My other question has to do with your niece. Now, at the time when she said she was seeing this man in her room, was your grandfather passed?
Both of them, yeah.
All right, because I was feeling grandfather on mother's side.
Okay, because he died fairly young. Back in the day, the kids started smoking cigs at the age of 5, basically.
Oh no!
Oh yeah.
And I thought, no,
maybe exaggerating, but perhaps at the age of 10, let's say. But he died of lung cancer.
Wow.
But yeah.
Yeah, that's the feeling I got when you were telling that it was grandfather, which would be
I was
her
getting
great
that.
grandfather.
She was a medium.
Mm-hmm. I haven't told her the story yet. I told my brother that I will, because I was waiting for her to be, because she just graduated from high school this year, and she's into things magical. So she's really like me. My brother's more down to earth type of person, but her mom is really scared about these things, ET stuff, and yeah.
This to me is clearly a family that goes back. Your history is way back. I mean, many lifetimes.
Do you know of the person called Dr. Louis Turi? He went on Coast to Coast a few times. He's a French medium, and he uses star charts and stuff like that to basically sum up your story, your history and stuff like that. And I had him on, and he described me to the T.
Wow.
And you should try to look him up. And
cool.
He's quite something. But yeah, regarding my family, there's a lot of ghost stuff. But again, I didn't know anything about ETs until the age of 40, which is, I'm really thankful for whatever came of it. But it really changed my life, knowing that I was an experiencer. And I'll get to that later on. Yeah. So to continue, so I've had the face of a gray in my bedroom, the lady regarding my brother's child. And then eventually, during that year, Veronica leaves me. Also, the owner of the apartment was going to kick me out because he wanted to bring in his daughter to live there. So I decided to buy my first house. So this was a modular home, brand new, that was built off-site, brought on-site. I chose the lot. The first day I entered the house, I started saging the house. To those that know me who were passed away, so basically my family, please visit me. You're allowed to come into my house as long as you protect the house. And so when you ask, the universe provides, and started getting body taps at night. Now, this didn't happen from the get-go, from as soon as I said that, but within that year, I started getting body taps, and I didn't know what they were. So at first, I thought, okay, it's because my back's chilly. I was sleeping on my belly, so my back was pointing to the ceiling. So I thought, okay, I might be cold. So I go under the covers, and eventually I started getting body taps beneath the covers, to wake up, to double taps. That's weird. And this would happen more and more as time went on. Now, the body taps happened from 2009 when I bought the house to 2015, basically, to the end of the year. I had it happen once in my new house now, but things really stopped. Then I would hear this weird sound come in from the kitchen because my bedroom was at the end of the house. Because so modular homes are basically like long rectangles. Both bedrooms are on the extremities, and then so I was near the kitchen, and this would happen after like maybe 12:30 at night all the time, like maybe once or twice a month. Now, eventually I got tired of it. So this was during a weekend, and I decided to start explore the sound. So I start pulling everything, and eventually I got to the trash bin, the plastic white trash bin that I had, and I realized that that it was the cover that was making the sound. So something was opening it and closing it at night. Okay, I thought, well, nothing's bad's happening because of it, so it could be like a ghost, a poltergeist. I don't know. It could be the same people touching me. I don't know. Now, during that same time, even the year prior to that, I felt my body was changing, that something bad was happening. My mother says, well, why don't you go see a medium where she lived? I see her, and the session was amazing. And she was always like watching beside me. She wasn't looking at me, but she was looking at something beside me. And like tears would fall from her face, as if she was like talking to whatever was beside me. Now, is this like a hoax type of thing? I don't know. What she said to me was like, as if she knew me. All the things that happened to me, she knew. And she said, you're going to meet, and I was single at the time, like I said, and you're going to meet this blonde lady. And she starts doing this. And then she says, okay, her hair is going to be here. You're going to meet her in a year and a half's time, probably, max 2 years. So within a year and a half's time, I was seeing other women during that time, but all of them were brown-haired women, and I wasn't meeting any blonde-haired women. Oh yeah, prior to that, when I was in the second-story apartment, I heard a voice, or woke up with a voice the next day, or the word serendipity in my mind. Now, I had no idea what the word meant. Even though I was bilingual, I went to English schools all my life, I did not know what the word meant. As if I invented a new word. So I go online. Google didn't exist at the time. At least it wasn't something. So I had to like use the Yahoo. So I say I had to Yahoo it instead of Google it. The word serendipity existed. Oh my God. And then I started reading about it, and it said, meeting somebody in an unusual place that you haven't seen in a long time. It's like serendipitous, really, basically. So each time something new happened to me, I tried to associate that with the word serendipity, and nothing really kicked in. Now, one day I go to Walmart at noon to get something, and I meet a guy I knew back when I was in my early 20s. I haven't seen him like in basically, oh my God, almost 20 years. And he was waiting for somebody. So we start talking. Now this beautiful, imagine like a tall, 6 foot tall, blonde, Nordic, Pleiadian-ish type of woman that you hear or you see in videos online, starts walking towards us. Now I'm looking to and fro, waiting for whoever my friend was waiting for, because this lady was way too beautiful. And she stops in front of us. I thought to myself, "Ooh, this is weird." And then she starts talking to me. She introduces herself. Now, what I hear is this sort of noble English type of voice that you'd hear only on radio podcasts or movies. And so she starts talking to me, and then we just talk, and eventually both of them leave. I go back home, and like a few days later, I get an email from this lady through my friend, but he gave him my email. She says that I was a starseed. I thought, oh, this is strange. No. Is she in a sect? Little did I knew about ETs. She went on this sort of like world trip. She went to India, and she went to these temples. And so during that time, we really emailed a lot. So she basically gave me my sort of training basically to what it meant to be a starseed. So again, I was a bit freaked out in the beginning, but more started to make sense about my past life. All the experiences that I went through started to make sense. Why I felt alone all my life. Why I didn't connect with people during high school, during grade school. I did not. All my life, I would walk in the living room, and I would say, I'm not like them, I'm not like them, I'm not like them. And I couldn't connect until I realized I wasn't alone. Other people had these experiences too. So that really was a healing type of thing for me. So really thanks to her. She also told me that she was a child gray abductee. Now, when she was a kid, her mom used to date Ozzy Osbourne. Okay. She's 3 years older than me, so she was 6 at the time. So yeah, mid-70s, let's say. Ozzy would come up to her mom's place. Sarah was on the floor, and she would look up at Ozzy, and she said, "You look weird." Ozzy would laugh. Yeah. Her mom wasn't the best of, basically a hippie, but yeah, wasn't the best of moms, but it is what it is. And her great-grandfather was a British brigadier, like in the military, so high-ranking brigadier, and was best friends with President Eisenhower and General Patton. So I'm not sure, probably wasn't president during that time, but anyhow, while they were in the military. So told me a few stories when both of them went to her grandmother's place, great-grandmother's place for supper, and would complain that I think Eisenhower would always put his gun on the table and whatever.
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah, well, stories basically. Now, yeah, so we eventually, so she comes back to Canada. The second night she was at my place. First night we did a C5. I didn't know satellites moved in orbit. I thought they were stagnant and didn't move. So when I realized, hey, wow, lights are moving in the air. Like, I didn't know anything, basically. I was a newbie. The second night, now we had these bed covers that we put on the front lawn. And now we're standing. This was in August of 2013, mid-August, around 9:45. So we've been like doing a C5 for at least an hour. Everybody was outside. It was fairly hot. The neighbors' kids were outside. And we're just talking to the universe. Basically, we're doing like Greer type of Kadosh, 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 Adonai Tzabaoth type of thing. And we're just trying to bring in the craft. But after 45 minutes, we're just looking in space. Well, just above basically my neighbor's house. And this 10 feet wide, orange, red, I call it lollipop orange, craft. So imagine a roundish egg. Not a tic-tac, not a sphere, so a roundish egg. Flying maybe 40 feet above the power lines. So that's close. I could have thrown a rock at it. It glides, no sound whatsoever. Everybody was outside, nobody saw it. It did a flyby because we're calling it. The whole thing lasted about a minute because it continued down its path. And I thought, oh, this is amazing. I thought does this happen to everyone? Does this happen each time we call them? And of course not, but we did other C5s. Now, we didn't have any missing time for those that might be have that question. We did other C5s, and sometimes there was this huge star, and I was looking at it, and I said, I'm pretty sure that's a UFO. And as soon as I say that, the star starts to shrink, tuk, 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 tuk. Then it starts moving down to the south. and sometimes, like, over our head, we'd see this really fast star, then it disappears, then it appears over our head. Now, 7 days after that, seeing that red UFO, she had to go somewhere, and I'm getting chills. So I'm at my parents' house by the lake, and I do a C5. Now, being close to the woods, by the lake, there's a lot of mosquitoes, so I had to basically like do a fast walk around the house while doing the C5 for an hour. The mosquitoes were catching up, basically. So after an hour, nothing's happening. So I'm a bit sad, and I thought, okay, well, they came for them, being a child abductee, and because she would complain to her grandfather that she was being taken up at night, they had their stuff done to her belly button. So I would sleep against the wall, but she asked her grandfather to sew her top pajama and her bottom pajamas together in hopes that they won't get to her belly button, let's say. Stuff like that. So after like doing my C5, I go back inside for like 5 minutes, talk to my mom and dad, and just to, take a short break. I go outside, and as soon as I step off the front porch, I get the feeling to look up, and the timing was impeccable. As soon as I look up, the same craft appears over my head, just above the tree line, and it flew. And having seen it, okay, I'm in awe, but I'm used to it now. Like, okay, wow, it's there. I'm happy. But I get the idea, go get your parents. So I run back inside. My mom, being into angels, she's out a lot faster. She sees it up close. My dad, more down to earth, doesn't give a damn. A cup of wine, comes out a few moments later. He looks at it. Oh, it's a plane. SOB started getting contact after that. Yeah. Like,
That'll teach you.
Yeah. So he started, his mom passed away maybe a year or two prior to that. He started getting body taps at night, and he'd wake up with a shadow being right beside his bed. He would also, when my mom passed away, not long, I'll get into that. Also, he heard while he was out doing a painting contract, he heard a female voice say "woohoo" at night just to wake him up. Also, within my dad's house by the lake, he had a bad cold, so he was sleeping downstairs in the guest bedroom. And as soon as he wakes up during the night, he sees a golden 4-inch orb fly in from the bedroom window, come in through the window, and fly from one end to the bedroom and then back. He tried to grab it. It either went through his hand or above it, but the golden 4-inch orb had this weird wonky moving energy inside it, and eventually it came out the window. And also in 2019, sorry. My dad, he eventually had to, when my mom passed away, he moved to another town where I'm at right now. But yeah, when I was in another town when this happened. He calls up and he says, Yan, I woke up and there was this weird looking clown in the bedroom looking at him. He tried to kick it. It either went through it, but he says it was a clown, but it didn't look like a clown. It was someone trying to look like a clown. So basically a gray screen image of a clown. And not being like from Earth, they don't know what clowns really look like. So he tried to portray itself as a clown. So those are my dad's experiences. Now, okay, so I call that craft. Just to backtrack a bit, all my life I felt as if there was this female watching over me. Now, this is really important. And when I was a kid, I'm not sure if you guys saw the movie The Child of Glass. It's a Disney movie from the 80s.
Mm-mm.
And this is a story of a boy and his family moving onto an old plantation. And that house hosted the ghost of a young child that was murdered by her dad on the property.
Mm.
And long story short, that he befriended this ghost, female ghost. He found the thing is, her soul was trapped in a glass doll within the old well, in one of the bricks in the well. They found the doll was hiding there. So by, I think, breaking the doll, her spirit was released, and pretty dark for a Disney movie, but
Disney, yeah.
yeah. The 80s, can I tell you?
They were a little bolder back then.
Now, I was traumatized after that, seeing that for all my life. I only saw it once, only parts of it. I remember that, and I was really traumatized, and I didn't know why. And then I started having this sort of contact when I was in my new modular home. I remember I was sleeping. I realized I'm on the floor. I'm sleeping, but somehow I know my body's in the bed. So my spirit was lying on the floor. And I hear with my ears, or whatever, and I hear a lady's voice say, "What are you doing on the floor?" And I feel like somebody's hugging me. And I feel love. Like love. Your entire essence really feels the love. And I feel as if I'm being dragged back into my body. Another time I went to, I'm so stressed out, my stomach hurts. I went to see I asked for a raise, and my boss got me so stressed out that I puked at the office. So my secretary brings me back home, and I was so ill that I slept in front of the toilet just in case I puked. I fall asleep on the floor, and eventually I wake up and I go back to bed. Now I had a heart problem at the time, and my heart was beating really, really fast. Now I fall back asleep, but this time I realize I'm in my bedroom corner in the fetal position, but I know my body's in the bed, and I hear the door open up. I turn around, I look at the door, and the door's still closed. Turn again back my head to the corner in the fetal position on the floor, and I feel like a hand plunging in through my back, and grab my heart. And as soon as it did that, my heart started to slow down, to eventually a point I got dragged back into my body. I woke up the next morning like nothing happened. Now this sort of female type of energy. Okay, and I'll leave it as if. Well, I'll come back to it later on. Now I'm dating this child abductee from England, and a bit prior to that, she did a sort of like a river cleansing type of thing with a crystal. We went back to it, and for some reason at the time, back in 2012, she had to seed that crystal there for some reason. We go back to it, and she plunges her hand in the river, and she gets it. It was still there. But from that moment on, because we were like really alone together, that's where we sort of like fell in love. And it was sort of meaningful because she had to go back there with me to get it. So eventually, like we were supposed to get married. So she became my fiance. So within my house, there's a lot of like weird energy type of things going on. We'd wake up and our cells were moving, and it was really painful to go back to sleep. I wake up. This was, I think, December of 2013. I was sleeping in the bed, but the bed was right beside the bedroom doorway. And in the doorway, I see this about 5.5 by 3.5-ish long, width, wide, oval, black oval. I thought it was a black disc, and it didn't have any depth to it. It was just a length and a width, nothing 3D-ish, but that I realized it was probably like a black hole that looked like an oval. And when I see that, it doesn't take long for my brain to register it as something that was in the air. Nothing was holding it. It looked like darkish matte gray type of color, and the light switch was just above me, so I switch it on. The light turns on. My fiance wakes up in a panic, and she says, "What's going on? What's going on?" I turn on. I tell her, "I just saw a black hole in the doorway." And she says, "No, I'm not waking up because of you. A man," remember, she's also psychic. She's got abilities. A man was telling her the word EMP, electromagnetic pulse, nonstop. That woke her up. At the same time, I'm seeing this black hole. Now, we're stressed out now, because we've had stuff happen to us. After like half an hour, we eventually fall back asleep. Now, so I'm always sleeping on my left side, so I'm facing the bedroom entrance, basically. I wake up, I'm looking down towards the floor, and I feel like there's movement coming in through the doorway where the black hole was. But I black out. This time, I wake up and I'm facing her. And so imagine the drapes are closed, but there's enough moonlight and lamplight coming from outside in the living room beside my door, coming into the bedroom. So without my glasses, I still can see inside the bedroom. And so I imagine I wake up and I'm drugged up. Imagine coming out of anesthesia. I'm really drugged up, but I'm conscious. In front of the bed and on her side of the bed, I'm seeing these 6-foot tall, very broad-shouldered shadow beings. Totally black. I'm only seeing the silhouette, broad shoulders, see-through. They're blacker than the night, but see-through. Because I could see my bedroom closet. They're 6 foot tall. And where a neck would be, I'm seeing these very broad, very huge round helmet on their shoulders. They're all identical. And with some effort, or considerable effort, I might add, I'm able to raise my hand to say hi. But I wasn't really stressed out, really. As soon as I do that, I black out. I wake up. I realize I'm standing on my feet. I'm standing, and I'm looking towards my feet. They're barefoot. I'm wearing hospital robes, and I suspect I might have been like, knowing what I know now, that when people get taken, they're all like walking in a singular row. I suspect that was me right now. But I woke up and I blacked out eventually. But I still remember that. So yeah, that was the one of the weirdest things. Some people might call it my lab. I have no idea, but yeah, I spoke a lot. Do you have any questions?
Oh my God, I am overwhelmed right now with all. Have you written a book?
Yeah, people have asked me that in the past, but I don't have a closing story or answers. It's just stuff that happens. It's like your basic experiencer type of stuff, really. Stuff happens to you all the time. You don't know why, and you just got to deal with it.
Wow, that's a lot, Jan.
Yeah.
When you say shadow people, are they different than what the paranormal community calls shadow people? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they were just totally black. Yeah, they didn't have black energy about them. They didn't have the shadow man with the black hat. No, all identical. I suspect basically is that when you're in between realms, You can see them, but they can see
Only
you, but you
part
can't
of
really.
them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you see just part of them. So they might have been
Yeah.
it could have been technology.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, they were in between. But that's when they came in through the portal. Because I had other like an experiencer from Sally from Australia that she saw a 6 foot tall black portal, let's say, that with people walking into it. So
Wow.
mine might have been small, and then it grew. Then people came out. That's what I suspect. I just caught it at a bad time, let's say.
Mm.
Yeah. So
How do you feel about all this? I mean, is it something that you just embrace or is it something that kind of freaks you out
no,
okay.
no, because I was brought into this. I had stuff all my life happen to me.
Yeah.
So imagine if somebody would have these experiences all of a sudden and would be like really intense nonstop. You'd go crazy.
Yeah.
So having born into this family, having a lot of ghost stuff happen to them. So the paranormal was a thing. So, and I think it felt normal for some reason.
Yeah, that makes sense because I didn't start having memories of experiences until I was in my 20s.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it freaked me out. But had I remembered things that happened to me when I was a little child like you, I think, yeah, that makes sense that it would be kind of like normal.
Now, to get back to the lady that seems to be following me. Now, again, this all has to be, you have to think of the child of glass, why I was traumatized. Now, to describe how she looked like, imagine, so this was like in the early 1900s, let's say this happened. But she was wearing these weird 1800s pajamas, very fluffy, something you'd see in Pirates of the Caribbean type of thing. So I saw that, and that really traumatized me. Now, was I dating my fiance at the time? I can't recall. Probably not, because I was alone. Now, I'm on my back, my eyes are closed, but I'm conscious, but I start feeling body taps, slight taps up my leg, starting from my toes, slowly up my leg. And when it came to my hip area, that's when everything, I'm getting like a third eye vision type of thing, but this was as if I'm looking at you guys. It's the same thing, but my eyes are closed. Mm-hmm. In my mind, I see this blonde lady. So imagine Olivia Newton-John from the film Xanadu. I think she was the daughter of Zeus in that movie. Mm-hmm. And there's a scene where she's wearing white, like this weird old white gown or type of pajama with blonde hair down to her shoulders. So I'm seeing the exact same thing, but I'm being showered with love. So I'm paralyzed from the love. Every cell in my body felt the love. And I thought, okay, am I dead? Am I dead? Is this heaven? So that's how I could compare it to. I call it love radiation for all intents and purposes. But she says to me, do you want to come with me? Now, as soon as she said that, to me, I thought she was an ET. And I thought to myself, okay, well, my mom's going to miss me. So I said, my mom's going to miss me if I come with you. And then she starts showering me with sadness. So all of my cells felt her sadness. And I thought, oh no, what did I do? What did I do? And then she says out of the blue, are you good with motors? I thought, well, this is strange. Why would an ET ask me if I'm good with motors? I've got rheumatoid arthritis in one hand, and I showed her my arthritic fingers, and I said, I'm sorry, I can't help you with your motor. I thought she was talking about her UFO motor, if I was good with repairing them. And I said, no, I can't help you with that. And she showers me with sadness again, and then she disappears in a backwards motion. And now I wake up the next day, and this happened like a few hours after that. Now this was, again, in December of 2013. It was very cold outside because I had to go to the grocery store and get food. And so my truck was at the time was a Nissan Xterra, and I tried to start it from afar because we had this had a long distance starter installed, and it didn't want to start. So I thought, okay, the battery's probably dead. I forgot to plug it. So I put it on a charger for 3 hours, try to start it, doesn't want to start. So I call my dad and says, go underneath the truck and start tapping your starter just to see if it's faulty. So I go underneath with all the snow, tap it for like 20 minutes, go inside the truck, try to start it. After like 20 minutes, it starts again. So I said, okay, the starter's faulty. I need to get it repaired. As soon as I go back inside, that's when it hits me. She wasn't asking me if I was good with UFO motors. She was asking me if I was good with truck motors. Both events happened way too close together that I knew she was telling me of something that was going to happen in the future, and just to show me that her visit actually happened. Yeah. So that was something.
Wow.
I also dreamt in that house that I was being introduced to the little people. This happened only once, but I suspect I was in a soul because I can't remember seeing my hands or feet or anything. But imagine like I'm like maybe like a few inches tall. I'm in the woods. I'm being introduced to the little people in the woods. So I remember like seeing a twig or a branch coming down like that, and the grass was a bit tall, and I'm seeing these small people in front of me, and that was really like a really powerful dream. But so regarding the lady in white, because all my life I remember walking in my parents' living room. I'm trying to remember. I'm forgetting someone. All my life. And then you put this child of glass lady in white that for some reason I was traumatized all my life of that image. And then I'm seeing the exact female but adult form in white. And I thought, okay, well, I'm connected to that lady. Was it like a guardian angel or something? I don't know. But as soon as I sort of made the connection to that, I stopped like being traumatized from that like movie figure, and I haven't really thought about it since. But it's just like a weird coincidence. But my mom eventually passes away not too long after that. My fiance was at the in England back when it happened, and my mom, I was speaking to her on the phone when my mom was still in the hospital, and her soul appeared to her while she was on the loo, on the toilet, and my mom said to her, "Please take care of my boy. He has no one else." And like not too long after that, they unplugged her, and she comes back. I gave her like a note to give customs or immigration to help her come through, and to help me with my dad. So while I'm at my dad's, the first night we slept in the basement where my dad saw the golden orb. My fiance wakes up at night and starts, go get a piece of paper quick and a pen. So she starts writing down the entire page. When she was finished, the thing is, when my mom was talking to her while she slept, and while she was writing things down. So 3/4 of a page, my fiance was trying to write in French what my mom was saying, trying to read what she wrote. She's British. She doesn't speak a word of French, but I could make out words in French.
Wow.
Eventually, at the bottom, she says, "I don't understand a word of French. Speak to me in English." So my mom starts speaking to her in English, and the last like few lines, she writes down, "Look in the drawer by the window." So the next day, we show this to my dad, and we start poking around, opening up drawers. That there's a drawer by the patio window where the TV was on. We open it up and we find my mom's dream diary. The second to last entry was my mom having a prophetic dream about her dying, but she didn't know she was going to die.
No.
My mom wanted us to know that she dreamt about it. How the dream goes. Okay, so like I said, my father's mom passed away not too long before that, and there was a lot of bad things happening to and fro within my dad's family. A lot of hate. So my mom's dreaming, and within my dad's house, she's in the bedroom. Outside, there's a huge patio, and spirits were trying to get into the house. My grandmother, my dad's mother, was there speaking to her. And she said, other souls want to talk to you, but again, she's there for my mom. She eventually finds out that she's going to get a procedure done on her chest, but not to worry about it. Everything's going to be okay. But she falls back asleep. She wakes up. She falls back asleep, and she gets back into the dream again. The same dream. My grandmother's still, my grandmother's still there. Her mother-in-law, and other souls were there. What's this thing with the procedure? Oh, don't worry, everything's going to be okay. Not too long, a few months after that, my mom dies. She caught a super flu at the hospital.
Whoa.
my dad was there for a checkup. He had a nasal problem, type of inflammation. Needed some cortisone, whatever, I don't know. And they were just there for a routine checkup. And she caught a super bug there. And they never closed the hospital. How strange. Within 2 days, she was dead. They put antivirals in her so strong that the doctor said that this could kill an elephant. And they didn't want to kill the bug. But they never closed the hospital. How strange. Anyhow, so my fiance at the time had contact with my mom, and so yeah, that was something. And my dad somehow misplaced the paper. I could have tried to decipher it. Somehow it disappeared. And we thought when he's going to move, he's going to find it, and he never found it. So I'm not sure if he doesn't know if he put it in the trash bin, being devastated, or it disappeared on its own. We don't know.
Wow.
Now, yeah, a lot of stuff happened. Also, so she eventually, her 6 months was up. She had to go back to the UK. Prior to that, again, I had rheumatoid arthritis. The company I was working for went broke. I couldn't find a job fast enough, and I had to sell my house. But lucky enough, it's as if the universe wanted me to sell my house because I was there for my dad to take care of him. So I moved in with my dad. She goes back to the UK. 6 months later, I had contracts, but I didn't find a proper job. She eventually leaves me. Now, I was really devastated. I wanted to die. I wanted to take my life. This didn't make sense because it's as if the universe was pointing me to her through the medium, and she wakes me up regarding my experiences. And so having her leaving me totally killed me. For the entire month, I think this was in March or May. I think it's March of 2015. So for the entire month, I would email her and she never responded. So this, near the end of the month, I was taking care of my dad's puppy. I helped him find a girlfriend. I was babysitting the puppy. I cry out to the universe. I was crying, and why? This didn't make sense at all. Nothing made sense of it. Why? I write to her one last email. I made this nice montage. So within that email, I say to her, thanks for the memories. When she was around the world, we emailed each other, and it was a good thing. Can't remember all the words, but something to that extent. And that's it. So this was around 6 p.m. Eastern time when I wrote this. So she writes back at around 7:30 Eastern time. So that's 5 hours later, UK time. This was past midnight. She was sleeping. She says, Jan, what's wrong? I wake up and I see this email, and I tell her the story. Oh, that's okay. But I said, Jan, I was sleeping, and a voice cries to me with urgency, wake up now, while she was sleeping. Not too long before me crying to the universe, why? And I tell her the story. Zen, you don't understand. This voice was female and alien. Now I'm going to go get a cup of tea because I'm startled. The female said to send protection now, so I'm sending you protection. So we sort of made up, basically, and we spoke a year later after that. But so that just adds to the female telling me about my brother's child, that the lady in white, and then this sort of female again that's been watching over me that woke her up from across the pond in the UK, so we could sort of mend things, I suppose, or not having me hang myself. I don't know. But it is what it is. But yeah, it's a nice story, but it comes with a price. Yeah. Any questions regarding that?
Well, we're almost out of time. I would like to ask you if you have had any recent experiences.
I've been doing C5 since moving here, and last Wednesday, so we are Saturday today. Mm-hmm. So a few days ago, me and my new girlfriend, who's also an experiencer, we probably got abducted the night prior to us meeting for the first time. I was at the hotel and her at her parents' place, and we had the same abduction event. Our more recent thing was we were doing a C5, and as soon as I hopped on the patio, I see this red and green flashing lights. And at first I thought it was a plane flying in just above the city, really close, a few streets down. We're seeing it from the side. but that thing was moving hell fast. Imagine like throwing a hockey puck on a frozen pond.
Mm-hmm.
That thing glided. No sound whatsoever. And that thing was from one side. I live in a huge city. So from one city to the other, I could see it at the other end. And it was moving really fast. Whoa, that's a UFO. That's a UFO. So I've only seen like huge golden, like, the round orbs and other, I get lots of contact moving here in the air. And as soon as it got to the end of the city, I'm looking at it, and then perpendicular turn moves. It was in a straight line, then moves to the south. Oh, and that's either a really big, it's either like man-made, those little
Drones?
the drones, but that would have been like a plane-sized drone. With two like really like flat, big red and green flashes. And my new girlfriend says, they were at the back. She believes it was a triangle, and the lights at the back of the triangle were flashing. So as soon as it flies down to the south, then it comes back, it starts moving, and again, another 90-degree angle, starts moving toward the east, but it starts going up this time. And then it went in orbit really fast, but not like like spectacular, like transportation up thing. It went really fast, but you could see it. Then it comes down, and we start talking to it, and it starts coming towards us. It starts moving away. We're showering it loud. Hey, I'm so glad you're here, blah, blah, blah. We give our names, and then it stops. Then starts moving left and right. Comes towards us, it comes back, left and right. Then it goes down toward the south, and then you see it down, 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 and then I couldn't see it because of the houses. The whole thing lasted at least 10 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah, so
Crazy.
that's my latest thing.
That's crazy.
So that's about it for now.
Wow.
Oh my gosh. That's a lot.
Yeah.
You've had a lot of experiences.
Yeah.
You've got so many people on the other side and ETs that are protecting you and loving you and always with you. And oh my gosh, you are so protected. Jan, you are so protected. Your mom too. Oh my gosh. Your mom, she's like your biggest fan, your mom.
We were very close. So yeah, having her go was a bit difficult.
To say the least.
Yeah, I'm very, very close to my son, and hearing your story just breaks my heart with your mom. I mean, it's so sad. But at the same time, it's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Your relationship with her is absolutely beautiful, and it's not over. It will never be over. Your mom is always, man, she is your biggest fan.
There's a quick story. Back when I meditated a lot, because I believe they're the ones that pushed me to do this type of thing, to start talking and doing my show. We didn't get into that, but Pat Jackson, a past guest of mine, said to a dream that I had, I'm in orbit. I'm looking downwards to the planet. I thought at first I was on the moon. Beside me was my mom. Beside her was my dad. But for some reason, that I knew it wasn't my dad. So portraying himself as my dad, but somebody else was behind it. He felt a bit grumpy, and but we were happy. We were coming down towards the planet. And I told her the story, and she says, Jan, that's a holding area. You were in a holding area. So either spirit-wise or I was on a craft looking down. So I imagine I'm looking towards the planet, but in front of me, it's as if I was looking through a white bedsheet covers on a clothesline. When the covers would be moving in, like to and fro. When in between two bed covers, I'd see the earth. So that's how I saw it. For some reason. I don't know what it means, but I'm in orbit. Yeah.
Yeah, and thank you so much for sharing
Thank
all
you.
of that. That was just fascinating.
It was amazing.
Yeah, there's more
amazing.
to it, but yeah.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure.
Yeah, well, we need a part 2.
Yeah, we do
Me
need
too.
a part 2.
Thank you so much for sharing your journey with us. How do people get in touch with you?
Through my YouTube channel email, which is experiencer.interviews@gmail.com. And so if they need to share anything, they could email me and we could talk. And so I do try to help people on the side when I can. Basically, just having someone to talk to helps a lot.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
I'm sure you're going to get a lot of questions. Wow.
Thank you for your service, Jan.
Oh, that's so nice.
Yeah, absolutely. We hope today's discussion has encouraged you to explore new perspectives and ask meaningful questions about the nature of consciousness and our place in the universe. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to like, subscribe, follow, and share the Metaphysical Hippie Chicks 2.0 podcast. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, and many of your favorite podcast platforms. Until next time, stay curious, keep an open mind, and remember, the greatest discoveries often begin with a single question. We love you, we appreciate you, and we'll see you next time.